We're surrounded by members of our business community, our faith community, leaders from all over Tucker of various organizations and groups. We're here to deliver primarily two messages. First, to our citizens, and especially today to our business community, we are not content to stand by and accept some level of crime as part of our normal existence. We recognize that we're going to have some crime, but we will not accept it as normal or routine. We intend to use every tool at our disposal to prevent and solve every crime committed upon our people, and we will not rest from weeding out those who spend their lives conspiring against us and working against our community's values regarding the safety of our people and our property. The second message is to those who have and would commit those crimes. We will identify you. We will find you. We will apprehend you. We will make your lives miserable, including prosecuting you and seeing that you're put in jail for as long as the law will allow. And that includes appearing at your sentencing hearing so that the judges in DeKalb County know just how serious we are about this matter. If you found your happiness victimizing people in Tucker up until now, we tell you now. We warn you now. We advise you, we encourage you, find your happiness elsewhere, because your life here is not going to be happy, and today we redouble our efforts to make sure that that's the case. Last night, for the second time in a month, and along with a number of times in recent years, the city of Tucker and some of its most beloved local and locally owned businesses were victimized by a crew of burglars. And I want to offer a few words about the nature of those crimes and our response to them. We know from past occurrences that this group or groups is very intentional. They're very targeted, they're very sophisticated and systematic. That is, they're very good at what they do. Generally, they start the night by stealing a car. They quickly deploy that car for their purposes, going directly to the businesses they've identified for that night's crimes. The car will be driven by an adult, some sort of a leader, and it's filled with several young people, children as young as 12, who they've recruited into the organization. And these children are specifically sought for their age, because they're too young to be seriously prosecuted, and for their naivete. They'll be driven to a place where there's several potential victims close together, like our Main Street a few weeks ago, and these three businesses a couple of blocks that way last night. They pull up in front, the youngsters pile out, they throw a handy rock or brick or otherwise break front glass. They race in directly to the cash register and depart with their bounty all within 30 seconds or less. They don't typically look around. They don't usually steal other valuables. They don't get distracted by anything. It's just get the register and go. They're very disciplined. Then they get back to a safe place. They ditch the stolen car and the cash registers along the way, minus their contents. Sometimes Tucker's their first stop. Sometimes Tucker's their last stop of the night. Maybe Lilburn or Snellville or somewhere else in DeKalb County. Last night, 3 businesses were hit this way in Tucker and a number of others in Gwinnett County. You can see why these crimes are so hard to prevent and to solve, but there are things we can do, and we all must do them to address, and I want to address some of those. Because these thugs and lowlifes are well practiced and spend a lot of time planning their next strike, it's hard to know when or where they'll be. So while we beef up patrols and visibility of our police, it's not possible to do enough in that regard to prevent all these crimes. I will mention that we've had over 200 patrols on Main Street by marked cars in the last 7 days, plus those by unmarked cars, the State Patrol, and more. We have more cameras, more tag readers, other surveillance than we've ever had before, but most of those lend themselves to solving the crimes after the fact rather than preventing them. The greatest deterrent will be for business owners to harden their own defenses and deterrents, including a proper security system with cameras and glass breaks and other features. More about that in a minute, but we know that more than one string of these burglaries has been stopped when the bad guys encountered a working alarm and realized they had no time to continue. I mentioned earlier that Tucker has and will continue adding security in public areas, including cameras, lighting, and other devices that detect motion and other activity under certain circumstances. I want to mention here that DeKalb County has taken significant steps with its police department that serves Tucker. Under new leadership since the first of the year, they are adding recruits at a rate we have not seen in many years. They're seeing officers return who left the DeKalb County Department over the last several years. They've added a system called Fuchsius, a real-time network of privately owned cameras to help with early detection and prevention, as well as with apprehension of criminals. The Georgia State Patrol is operating again in DeKalb County after being excluded from DeKalb for many years, and by the end of this year, DeKalb PD will implement drones as first responders, along with a state-of-the-art real-time crime center that they tell us will be a national model for responsiveness and proactive policing. Further, in addition to these many improvements continually underway, I have two things I want to announce to you regarding this recent string of break-ins. The first of those is that last night at its regular meeting, before we even knew of these overnight break-ins, our Downtown Development Authority, which is called the Tucker Development Authority, approved an expansion of our downtown facade program. Now, this program was established to improve the aesthetics, the look of our downtown and its buildings. The expansion now includes significant contributions toward improving security at our downtown businesses, including the ones we've mentioned today. Effective immediately, any business in the defined area can apply for assistance with improving their business's security. We'll publish the details shortly, but quite simply, if you have or install a qualified business security alarm system, our DDA will then match 75% of the cost of other improvements, like break-proof glass, shatterproof glass, glass break detection devices, and related equipment that we know stops crime. I want to be clear. We're saying that we want to help our businesses help themselves, and we are going to cover up to 75% of the cost, up to $10,000. We're serious about businesses being able to defend themselves. And secondly, I'm announcing today a $10,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the organizer or organizer of these crimes from last night. That's just from the city and a private donor, and I'm inviting all the people you see here to participate and make that even larger if they're so inclined. I want to say to our young people specifically, who may know who's been involved in these crimes, the people who've been victimized themselves by these users and abusers of their youth, that money can be yours if you provide helpful information. I'm convinced that if we apprehend these perpetrators, we will also be sending a strong message to anyone who might think they'd like to adopt Tucker as an available territory for their criminal activity. For obvious reasons, we won't be detailing all the measures we have and will be taking security-wise, but I'll tell you that at our next council meeting, this Monday the 11th, we'll have a presentation on smart lights and light heads for our trails, our new Tucker Town Green Park, which is just down to our right here, and for our downtown. 2 days later, on Wednesday the 13th, we have a regularly scheduled meetup on Main for our businesses to discuss a range of topics. Certainly crime and the responses I've discussed today will be part of that. And I'm hopeful that at our next several meetings, we'll have a series of action items to approve in the same vein. I want to thank you all very much for being here. A lot of these folks have to get back to work, and so we're not going to hold them all here for questions, but those who can will stay, and we're happy to discuss it further. Thanks for your attention, and thanks to all of you all for being here today.